This is the Riverbend Chapel and Cemetery from FOS Scale Models. This kit comes with laser cut clapboard wood parts, cardstock roofing, colour coded strip wood, a selection of plastic and metal castings, a piece of 0.02mm brass rod, and a list of instructions. The first thing I did per the instructions was fit the wood bracing to the backs of the walls of the main structure. I don't yet have a chopper, but this Stanley knife works just as good. Here is a selection of glues I used to make this build. The wood glue dries very fast. I apply a fair bit of pressure, making sure that the fit is flush, and then weigh it down until it cures completely. Bracing walls like this is important for two reasons. One is to make sure that the walls don't start to warp once you apply paints, and the other reason is to give your structure some added adhesion points when it comes to fixing it together. For priming and spray painting, I used a mixture of Rust-Oleum matte white and grey primer and Cobra brown spray paint. I first hit the walls with the white and then went over them with the brown. Here I used a car sponge to apply some white craft paint to the walls. This stippling effect makes the walls look as if the white paint is peeling, leaving behind the darker wood colour underneath. I used an X-Acto knife to lift some of the boards up. Just simply slice into a panel and then slip the knife underneath and gently lift. This gives the walls an aged look. Strip wood often comes a little bit rough, so I use some very fine steel wool and just pass it through the strips a few times. This gets rid of most of that fraying and splinting. I use the same white craft paint for the wall siding. Here I used Vallejo wood and a paintbrush to dab lightly onto the window frames. I sprayed the frames with Rust-Oleum matte white. I also loaded the brush with some dark brown craft paint and flicked the bristles to get a fine splattering effect. I adhere the frames to the walls with tacky glue. This slot for inserting the walls was a little bit too big after all the painting, so I used this small jeweler's file to sand out the opening. The kit comes with laser cut acetate, making it very easy to apply the windows to the frames. I used a small amount of super glue to attach them together. I found the best way to add the stained glass was to fit the frame straight to the paper using a small amount of sticky tack glue, and then cut them out. This also gives you a nice amount of purchase when it comes to gluing the paper to the wall. Here I primed all the castings with grey. I later resprayed the windows and doors with the white. I measured up the walls, cut the siding, and glued it on. When it comes to the siding for the tower section, you'll want to make sure that you leave enough extra, as this will be cut back to size later on. I fixed the windows in place using super glue gel. I don't have machinist blocks, so to work around this I used an old iPod box with some weights inside. This worked great in getting the building square when it came to assembly. I came across this problem with the bracing. Wall 5 shows bracing on one side of the tower section, but doing this makes it not possible to properly assemble the tower. So I used a blade to remove this part of the bracing. If you find yourself putting this kit together, it might be worth running the centre bracing down to the top of the window to avoid warping. Another problem was that the siding on wall 6 is shown to run the full length on both sides. This doesn't work either, as it stops the tower from being square. Here I trim off the patina siding so that the corners can be properly fitted. Some additional engineering I did was to brace the ends of the extension building's walls, as this gave me a better adhesion surface to the main structure. Here I add the roof trim, which is painted with the same white craft paint as earlier. Using the 0.02mm rod provided, I bent it into a gooseneck shape and inserted it into the lamp. I fixed it in place using superglue gel and painted it up with some Rust-Oleum gold metallic paint. A part of this kit that I found to be particularly ingenious was the foundation part, which comes laser cut into this thick MDF. Once you've removed your cemetery parts, you're left with the blank boards, which function as the foundations. I scanned a copy of the instructions that contain the brick texture onto some matte white sticky paper and cut them out. This made adhering the paper to the foundations much cleaner and less messier than using glue. To get the copper patina colour on the tower sections, I used this Crown Matchpot Colour Tester emulsion paint. I also added some silver rub and buff to get a more metallic look, and then went back over the parts again lightly with the emulsion. The witch's hat portion of the tower requires brass siding, which I cut to size and adhered using the superglue gel. A final bit of engineering I did, which I would recommend to anyone building this kit, is to add some more bracing to the interior front and back walls to ensure that they don't move when it comes to adding the roof later on. When it came to painting the back door casting, I used these Vallejo paints. This application was trial and error until I was finally happy with the result. I added some more of the Rust-Oleum gold for the door handle. I removed the cardstock roofing and gave it a quick test fit. Here I used a brown Sharpie to colour in the edges to stop any paper marks from showing through. For the tar paper roofing, I took 220 GSM black cardstock, sprayed it with some grey Rust-Oleum primer and cut it into 1 cm strips. Then I took some 120 grit sandpaper and removed as much of the grey as I could to give the paper a worn effect. A great way I found of attaching the paper to the card roofing was by using double-sided sticky tape. This meant there was no chance of the roof bowing or warping due to any moisture from gluing. I attached the roofing sections using the sticky tack glue. Finally, I inserted the gooseneck lamp, painted up the castings, and glued them in place. This is probably the happiest I've been with the final result of any kit I've made so far. The quality of the parts is fantastic. Apart from the few discrepancies I found whilst assembling the kit, the instructions are very straightforward and clear. You'll notice I didn't build a cemetery here, as I'll be putting that together later as part of my Wild West diorama. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks very much.